So by my watch, we have about 5 minutes left in this session. And so what I'd like to do is, rather than ask the panelists questions, I'd like to open this up to the rest of the audience to ask the panelists questions in the remaining 5 minutes. And I just want to lead this with a quote from one of my colleagues, Jim Sankiriko, who's a very eminent environmental economist. And I asked him the question, well, what do we really mean by food security before I came out here? And how does that relate to the question of sustainability? And Jim's comment was, today the word sustainability encompasses biology of the seafood stock, economics, the socio-cultural aspect of fishing, labor practices, and food security. And so I just wanted to say, this is probably one of the most integrative and biggest challenges of our time and of this whole meeting today. How do we sustainably feed 7 to 10 billion people, make sure they have access to the food, that it's safe, that it's nutritious, that it's balanced, and it's secure. And with that, I'll ask the audience if they have any questions, and we'll go from there. Okay. So we may have a few, we'll do ad hoc Q&A until the congressional representative appears, and then we'll cut it off. So please, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yes, hi, this is Barbara Best. I'm from U.S. Agency for International Development, and I understand that the food security discussed here really had a U.S. focus, but in earlier parts of the day, we talked about how global food security was really a national security issue too. And I didn't hear anything about wild-caught fisheries and their important role for food security and the interplay between the types of mariculture that are sometimes being promoted here in the U.S. could have destabilizing impacts in countries where fish are being taken for fish meal. Could we hear some talk about the importance of wild fisheries to food security and the interactions between mariculture here and food security overseas?
I'll start. I can comment on this notion of feeding fish to fish, which I think you're asking about. Certainly, shrimp and finfish need feed. One of the best sources of feed are these small oily fish, anchovies, herring, menhaden, that are ground up into fish meal and fish oil. But they don't need forage fish necessarily. There's, just like you and I, they need about 40 different nutrients. They can come from a whole variety of sources. And that's really one of the success stories of the research community in the United States and elsewhere over the past 10 years is we are now at the point where the growth of fed aquaculture no longer depends upon forage fish. That link has been broken. It never was a sustainability issue from an aquaculture perspective. It's a wild, if you want to go lower the catch of forage fish, go lower the catch of forage fish. The world supply of fish meal and fish oil has been constant for 30 years. Aquaculture is willing to pay more for it than pigs or pet food or chickens. But because of the limited supply and because the price has tripled, everyone's scrambling for alternatives. So those same nutrients are available from plant-based feeds, from insects, from algae, from yeasts. But you have to put the Rubrik's Cube back together again to sort of have something that's palatable to the fish, and so that you and I get the nutritional benefits. We're there. Yeah.
Please.
Well, I don't know if this is on or not. So, at least from the commerce perspective on the appropriations committee, one thing that we have heard a lot of support for and have tried to provide funding for. Is there a stop sign up? Okay, we'll stop. I'll talk to you in the hallway.
So we're going to quit right now, but I just wanted to say that at the very end of today's session, the two moderators for the panels will be talking between ourselves and also engaging you guys in coming up with a series of recommendations that might emerge from this. And this will be another opportunity for you guys to all engage and help contribute to what we hope will be the outcomes of this workshop today. Thank you all very much.
Can I just say, if folks have questions about environmental sustainability with respect to aquaculture, come to us after the session, and we'll sit. I'll hang around for as long as you want and answer questions.
Thank you all very much.